I call this photo ebb and flow, and I really don't put a lot of time and thought into thinking up names for any of these pictures. So don't read too much into any name you see for any picture on Weekly 50. It's usually something I just think about like right as I'm making the post, and it's like usually the first thing that comes to my head. That like the names don't really mean anything. But this picture, the name has nothing to do with the subject. It has everything to do with my photographic process. You know, I feel like a lot of us have these ebbs and flows in our lives of creativity. Well, a lot of things, but specifically creativity, where there'll be a certain time where you'll feel like super energized and you just want to do all sorts of creative things. And then you'll kind of back off. And there'll be some times of life when you just don't feel that creative and you feel like there's no good ideas and it's just like inspiration's not happening. That was kind of what was happening here. I went out for a walk around Theta Pond on campus. I had my camera, my macro lens, and I was like, there has got to be a photo. Like I can find a photo. I know it. There's a photo here somewhere. And I just like walked around the pond for 10 minutes and I couldn't find anything. Like nothing looked interesting at all. And it just felt like I was in kind of a creative rut. And then I saw this leaf on the ground. And I thought, well, it's a leaf. I mean, there's like a million of these. This is not an interesting photo. But I got down low and looked at the leaf, and I really tried to pay attention to the light, kind of like I mentioned last week. So where's the light coming from? And what can I do with the light, or what can I capture with the light that might make this a more interesting photo? And the result is what you see here. I think sometimes when I'm feeling stuck in one of those creative ruts, one of the keys that I often come back to is that of lighting. And it seems like such a basic, simple idea. Well, photograph is all about capturing light. I mean, light is the essence of photography. And yet I don't always think about where's the lighting coming from and how can I harness the light or move myself around to make the shot look more interesting. And so that's what I ended up doing. I thought, well, what if I put the sun behind the subject or move myself so the subject is between me and the sun? And what would that do? And sure enough, the leaf started glowing, and suddenly instead of just a normal green dying leaf, it was like alive with color, and you can see all those little veins between the parts of the leaf. And then I noticed there was cars driving by on University Avenue, and I actually linked on the blog, I linked to a photo that I took, I think like 2 years to the day, or maybe 1 year to the day prior of taking this photo, where part of the photo that I originally captured was this light being reflected off of passing cars. And turns out I could recapture that same sense with this photo here. And so that giant ball of light right in the middle of the photo, that was kind of intentional. I waited until cars were passing and then rapid fired several shots at once because I wanted that burst of light coming from the sun reflecting off of someone's windshield. And all of those things came together to make a photo that I think is pretty neat. I don't know if I'd say I'm proud of this photo, but I'm really happy with how it turned out, especially given that it was taken during like a complete creative rut. So the idea of ebb and flow, of like that push and pull back and forth, especially as it comes to photography and inspiration, it's a real thing, and it happens to me a lot. And this photo is an example to me of sometimes you can find a way out of those creative ruts just by looking at something with a different sort of light.